Live from Rockford, you're watching a WIFR Fastcast.
Good afternoon. Our top story for this 1 p.m. Fastcast. A Rockford woman and a Loves Park man will appear in court, both accused of being involved in child sex crimes. According to court documents, in February of 2025, a woman told Loves Park police she was sexually abused between 2007 and 2015 by Melinda Butler and Philip Unnerstall. The woman claims the abuse started when she was 9 all the way until she was 17. She says she was forced to drink alcohol and wear skimpy clothing. When police spoke to Butler and Unnerstall, both denied the allegations. Butler is a program service assistant for Youth Build Rockford. A Winnebago County judge finds 36-year-old Neptali Cruz Santos guilty of sexually assaulting a child. In June of 2023, Rockford police were called to a home in the 300 block of South Alpine Road. The child told officers that Neptali and his brother David Cruz Santos sexually assaulted them during a game of tag. The child didn't know about the crime until they looked at a video about Aaron's Law in high school. Aaron's Law is a program that teaches students from pre-K through 12th grade about child sexual abuse and to tell a trusted adult. David was also convicted of the crime Monday. 27-year-old Isaiah Hurley faces terror threat charges, accused of threatening his former employer. Police started an investigation Tuesday, and they say Hurley sent a threatening message to his former employer and then was taken into custody and to the Lee County Jail. The Dixon Police Department reminds people, if you see any suspicious activity, contact the police department or Crime Stoppers. You do not have to use your name when making these tips. 37-year-old Jeremy Champlain is seriously hurt after allegedly crashing his dump truck while drunk around 10:45 Sunday. Authorities were called to the area of Highland Court and South Valley Drive in Stillman Valley. Investigators say the truck spilled around 150 gallons of driveway sealer when making a turn. Champlain is accused of crashing into 8 mailboxes and a light pole as well. He was taken to a Rockford hospital, and after being treated, he was arrested and then later released to appear in court. Time now to take a look at that 7-day forecast. We are now more than halfway through what has been an amazing weather week. Look at all those great temperatures that will continue on. 81 today for a high, 83 on Friday. The rain looks good, clear as day for all the football players on Friday night, unlike it was last week. So it should be a great football frenzy coming up tomorrow. Saturday looks pretty good, 40% chance of showers later on, which will stretch into Sunday, but mostly some dry hours on the days or on the times you want it most over this weekend. Monday, 88 and a 30% chance of rain. Those rain chances continue around 30% for Tuesday and Wednesday, with the temperatures dropping a wee bit to 87 and 84. As a new school year gets underway, extra requests for money from classrooms, clubs, and sports have some parents feeling the pressure. Consumer investigator Rachel DePapa looks at a new study that shows just how much families are spending and what you can do to protect your budget in this watching your wallet.
A new NerdWallet study found more than half of parents feel overwhelmed by financial requests from their children's schools. And on average, they're spending more than $500 on these requests. Sarah Rathner with NerdWallet says you could try to set aside money each year to save up for the inevitable back-to-school requests. She also says if you're in a position to be generous, maybe give extra to help the families who are not.
If you are not in a fortunate position and you're just unable to meet these expenses, absolutely have a conversation with your child's teacher or administrators at their school and see what is realistic for you right now. There might be other ways that you can help your child's school by volunteering your time for different school events.
Parents are feeling the pressure this year. 43% say they'd go into debt to help their child fit in at school. And 45% say they'd do the same for extracurricular activities. 37% of parents say their kids could miss out on at least one school activity this year because of the cost.
If there's a certain item that they want that's very expensive, would they be willing to put it on their birthday or holiday wish list and have it be their present for this year? If they're old enough to work or get an allowance for doing chores or doing other small jobs around the house, could they perhaps work toward paying for some or all of the cost of the item they want?
Rathner says it may be time to have hard conversations with your child of what you can and can't afford. She says there are lots of ways you can be creative and use these wants as an important money lesson for your kids. With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Rachel DePompa.
Actor Peter Cullen, who voiced the well-known Transformer Optimus Prime, dies at the age of 85. He lent his voice as Winnie the Pooh's friend Eeyore and as the alien in the sci-fi thriller film Predator as well. He voiced Optimus Prime in the Transformer franchise for decades, voicing the character for 8 live-action films.